The series begins in a high school located in the countryside, and we see the students sitting in the classroom. The teacher enters, and before the class begins, she asks them about the dreams they want to achieve. Each student begins to answer her. Some of them want to be drivers, some want to be painters, and some want to be housewives. None of them have big ambitions until then. When it's John's turn, he tells her that he dreams of transferring to a famous school in the city, graduating from it, and entering university. Everyone laughs at him, even the teacher, because they live, as she says, my son, in a small village that has no place on earth and is known for the fact that no one ever leaves it. Our hero, Young, gets angry and says that dreaming isn't shameful, but giving up without even trying is shameful. The teacher mocks him and tells him to cover yourself and go to sleep, and everything will be fine. She leaves him and continues eating. Young, hurt by her words, sits with his friends after class. They feel frustrated by what the teacher and the students said, but they don't give up. They decide to achieve their dream. To prove it to everyone, they have a rose. They agree to throw it at a statue. If it lands on its head, they will take it as a sign of hope to succeed. Young is the first to throw. The son of a player succeeds, but his friends think he is just lucky and decide to try again. They are surprised when they also succeed and become happy. They realize this is a sign that, from now on, they must achieve their dream. At night, they all apply to a famous school. They agree to study and meet there. Days pass, and the friends study day and night to get a good grade on the exam. Then, the exam day comes. They are afraid, but they encourage each other and enter the committee. They begin solving the questions confidently, reassuring one another that they did what they had to do. A week later, they gather at John's house, eager to know the results, but his phone breaks down, and his father gets angry and is about to break it. Young checks the results on his own phone and is surprised to see that they all passed with high scores. They rejoice because this means they can move to the city. They celebrate happily, finally doing something no one has ever done before. Grandma gathers them to perform a farewell ritual and tells them a spell. The boy forced us after him. At that moment, all the boys are frightened by her words. They leave her alone and run to sit by the river, where each of them says his dream out loud, to enter university and get engaged. They are excited that they will achieve it. The next day, the travel date arrives, and they leave. The villagers escort them themselves. These are the miracle students. Our heroes see them off as they board the bus. Everything seems normal. There are connections that take them to the city. They go to the city and arrive at the new school. They are happy, but they notice that the taxi driver looks worried about them and asks them to take care of themselves. They are surprised by what he says. When they enter the school, they are shocked to find it full of bullying students and thugs. What am I doing here? What brought me here? What's wrong with my dreams? They've turned from rosy to absurd. But none of this prevents them from checking their names, only to discover that they wrote the wrong letter when applying. Instead of applying to the specific school they wanted, they mistakenly applied to another school, one known for dangerous gangs. The system in place here is either hit or be hit, meaning the strong control the school. As for the weak, they have no place and will be bullied. Before we continue the story, don't forget your lovely like and subscribe. We want to reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of the month. The bullies hit the students either to welcome them or to beat them up. Which is more accurate? Of course, it's to beat them up. Our heroes get scared and run away from them. They keep running until they hide in a room. Young logs onto the internet and tries to transfer them to another school, but finds all the sites blocked. He gets confused and doesn't know what to do. He suggests that they return to their village. Again, they remember what the school and the students said and are afraid they will be mocked and called failures. Young encourages them, saying, "We must stay in school until we succeed and achieve our dreams." So they decide that they will stand together from now on to protect each other from the bullies. The next day, they put on their uniforms and go to school. They walk side by side so that if anything happens, they can cooperate and defend themselves. But they are surprised to see that all the students are fighting. The school has become a battleground between the bullies. They try to escape but are caught between two classes, both holding them back. Of course, they end up in the middle of the fight. The one who gets hit in the stomach gets smashed with a brick. Here, you have to pretend to be dead. Hurry, there's no other solution. When the fight ends, they run away from the place and see a teacher. They explain what's happening, but of course, he's not interested in what they're saying. He tells them it's completely normal and asks them to go into the classroom. They listen to him and try to make new friends to help them in the fights, but they're afraid of the other students' appearances and know they're all thugs. John tries to get to know some girls. He goes to talk to them confidently because he's a handsome young man, but he's surprised to find that the girls are even more dangerous than the boys. They catch him, flip him over, and steal his money. They would have beaten him up if he hadn't run away. He goes with his friends to a restaurant to buy food and sit at an empty table. However, they notice that all the students are staring at them. Why are they staring? No one understands the reason, until suddenly, a bullying student comes over and tells them that this place belongs to a powerful gang leader and the strongest person in the school. If he sees you here, he'll beat you up. If you want to take this place, you have to fight him and win. Then you'll become the leaders. They're terrified by what he says and quickly hide under the tables. Then the gang leader arrives, sees them, and says, "I'll count to 3. If I find you standing in front of me respectfully, I'll forgive you this time because I won the bet today. But if I ever see you sitting in my place again, I'll make you regret it." Our heroes apologize to him. They run away from the restaurant and go sit in the playground. They are hungry and don't know what to do because they are afraid to enter the restaurant again. Luckily, John brings food from the village. He distributes it to them, and they eat happily. After that, they go to the classroom to attend the lesson, but suddenly, they all feel a pain in their stomachs. They realize that the food was spoiled. They run to the bathroom, but they are surprised that it is so crowded that each one of them has to find another way. One of them enters the girls' bathroom, another goes behind a tree, and Young keeps searching for any place until he enters the gang leader's bathroom. Without knowing or noticing, because he is poor, the leader arrives and gets angry when he sees him. He decides to hit him to make him regret it. Young gets scared and closes his eyes, but suddenly, someone appears, hits the leader, knocks him out, and leaves. Young thanks him, but is shocked to realize that the person is a beautiful girl. He tries to talk to her to learn her name, but she leaves quickly. He runs after her. The students arrive and see the leader lying on the ground. They think that Young is the one who hit him. They are surprised and decide to make him the new leader of the school. They try to tell him that he didn't do anything, but they don't give him a chance. They keep cheering him on and chanting his name. He goes home and spends the whole night thinking about the girl who saved him, to the point that he dreams about her. The next day, when he wakes up, he sits with his friends and tells them what happened at school. He tells them that he is afraid of the leader because he will definitely take revenge on him. They try to reassure him, but they say, "What do you want us to say? Honestly, we were happy that you were our friend, but now we can't do anything for you except say goodbye." They even offer him their food so he can endure the beating he might take, but John suggests an idea. He disguises Young by changing his hairstyle and having him wear glasses. Young goes to school feeling confident, thinking, "No one will recognize me now." But the students all recognize him at first glance and welcome him. They take him to a restaurant and seat him at the leader's table because they remember he was the one who defeated the former leader. The bully talks to him and reveals that the old leader is now too afraid to return to school after what happened. He warns Young to always be prepared because anyone might challenge him for the title of leader. Young is terrified by this and wants to confess that he's just a loser who didn't do anything. But when he sees the students' admiring looks, he notices that they all respect him because they think he's strong. This makes him happy, and he decides to keep the secret. Suddenly, he sees the girl who saved him sitting in the restaurant. He tries to talk to her, but she disappears again. He then goes to class with his friends, but the bullies barge in. They want to fight him. He gets scared and pretends to be busy, but one of the bullying students tells him that he must fight. If you run away and don't fight, they'll think you're a coward, and no one will respect you again. Young is confused, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, he sees the girl again and decides to take advantage of the opportunity. He and his friends run after her. They try to catch her, but she's too fast, slipping under a door like a ninja, and in less than a second, she escapes. They are amazed by her skills and continue searching for her outside. At school, when they get tired and frustrated, they go to a restaurant to rest. Surprisingly, they discover that the girl works there. They are shocked to learn that her name is Kim, the strong girl. They ask her to join their team to protect them from the gangs, but she refuses and pretends to be weak. But Young says loudly that he saw her hitting the boss, urging her to hurry up. She tells him to be quiet, or else the boss will disgrace her and fire her. She begs him to stay silent and takes the food orders. Before she leaves, she writes them a note, warning them that if they mention her hitting the boss, they will regret it. They become afraid of her, take the food, and leave. They sit and think together about how to convince her to join them, but John tells them, "We don't need her because the students are afraid of us right now." They're already taking Young's word for it. To prove his point, he throws his shoe, which accidentally hits a student student. They get scared and think he'll fight with her, but he goes to bring her back because he thinks she belongs to a powerful gang. Young gets angry and tells him not to do that again. But John isn't convinced by his words. When he sees some girls, he goes after them, flirts with them, and tries to get to know them. But his classmates see him, catch him, beat him up, and smash his face. He returns to his friends, humiliated, and tells them, "You were right. We have to convince Kim to join us as soon as possible." He faints the next day. They decide to keep an eye on her, to find out her secret, and catch her in action, so they can take advantage of the opportunity to convince her. They follow her around the school, and are surprised when she goes to a deserted place. They fear she might have set up an ambush for them and prepare to escape, but suddenly, a group of thugs appears and tries to kidnap her. Young gets angry and steps in. He protects her by pretending to be strong and warns them to stay away from her, but the thugs aren't afraid of him and beat him up. Kim is forced to defend him. She gets into a fight with the gang and, in less than a second, defeats them all. Young is amazed and thanks her, but the leader of the thugs arrives and tries to attack her, and she falls to the ground. Everyone is astonished by her strength. Young asks her how she did this. Kim tells him to come with her and takes him and his friends to an abandoned building. At first, they think she's hiding there, but she explains that this is where she trains in secret. She sits with Young and treats the wounds on his face. He is touched by her kindness and realizes she's a good person, and he thanks her. He asks her how she learned to fight. Kim shows them some wooden training equipment, performs fast and powerful moves in front of them, and shows them a picture of her grandfather. She tells them that he trained her in Taekwondo to protect herself and asked her to be strong and defend anyone who needed her. When he died, she says, "I decided to carry out his will." She adds that she was happy Young saved her from the gang leader. They ask her why she hides her strength. She tells them that any boy who knew she was a professional fighter would be afraid of her and stay away. That's why she decided to train in secret and asks them not to tell anyone about her. Everyone who hears her story is deeply moved. Her mother isn't involved, but they offer Kim to join their team to protect and defend them. Kim refuses because she doesn't like problems, but they keep pressuring her, making it difficult for her, and she is forced to agree to get rid of their guilt. Of course, they are happy and celebrate her decision. The next day, they invite her to their house to thank her. They go to her Instagram and look at her photos. They are surprised that she is a cute girl, but she is tough and doesn't stay silent. They start suspecting that she might be dangerous or even planning to kidnap them, but Young defends her because she saved him. Suddenly, Kim enters and overhears them, warning them that if they speak about her again, they will regret it. She sits and talks with them and learns that they are from a village and have come to achieve their dream of entering university. But she is surprised that none of them understands fighting, and she feels they might embarrass her at school. They reassure her that they just want to be her friends, nothing more, and they offer her the food she loves. When she tastes it, she is amazed by its flavor. For the first time, she feels truly accepted and thanks them, deciding to protect them. Our heroes are happy and go to school, now confident in themselves. They enter the restaurant to eat. Suddenly, a thug appears, continues to harass them, and challenges them to fight against his gang. But John is not afraid because he knows Kim will defend them. He agrees to the challenge and sets a date. Young is surprised by what John did and asks, "What should we do now? If we go, we'll definitely get beaten up." But John reassures him, saying he has a brilliant plan that won't fail. He takes him to the playground, where they find the thug waiting with his gang. He wants to fight Young to become the leader, but Gon tells them they aren't on his level. To be honest, he will have his assistant fight them instead. Suddenly, Kim arrives, hiding her face. Everyone laughs at her, thinking she's just a weak girl. One of them tries to attack her, but she hits him once, sending him flying. They are shocked by her strength. The gang gathers around her to attack, but she uses her taekwondo skills. She defeats them all, taking them down one by one. The gang members beg her to stop. No one can defeat her. Our heroes are amazed by her power. They go to thank her, but Kim becomes upset and tells them, "Yes, I protected you and succeeded, but that doesn't mean I will fight for you every time." She warns them that if they repeat this behavior, she won't defend them again. Then she leaves, angry. Our heroes feel guilty about what happened. When they return to the classroom, they try to make up with her. One offers her juice, another massages her shoulders, and another fans her with a book. But she can't stand their fussing and tells them to rely on themselves because she won't protect them anymore. She walks away, leaving Young worried about losing her. Determined to fix things, Young thinks of a way to stay friends without depending on her. After school, he goes with his friends to the warehouse where she trains. Kim is surprised when she sees them and asks what they are doing there. Young asks her to train them in fighting so they can defend themselves. At that moment, Kim remembers her grandfather's words when he told her to help anyone in need. She agrees and decides to carry out his will. She begins teaching them the basics of Taekwondo, explaining that they must remain calm in order to defeat their enemies. Their special training requires them to attack her to test their strength. They try, but none of them can touch her. Young and his friends attempt to imitate her movements, but they quickly get tired because they're not used to it. However, Kim shows no mercy. She pushes them harder, and they get beaten a lot so their strength will increase, and they'll get used to fighting. The next day, they go to school exhausted. The students see them and think they've come straight from a fight. Amazed by their supposed strength, the students approach them, give them gifts, and ask them for protection. The group is surprised. Our heroes sit together and decide they want to change the school system and abolish fighting. A bullying student overhears them and tells them that, in order to do this, they must first defeat all the gangs. He warns them that 2 gangs remain. The first is a group of thugs skilled in boxing and wrestling, and the second is made up of idle students. To change the school rules, they must become the strongest gang. Young realizes how difficult this will be and tells his friends they need more training to build their strength. He asks them to go with him to Kim's place, but they avoid him because they're still tired. They leave him and run off, trying to make new friends. One of them approaches some guys playing PUBG, but they mistake him for a thug coming to attack them. Scared, they abandon their cell phones and run away. John goes to flirt with girls as usual, bringing them juice and sweets, but they ignore him and leave to join other guys from the gang. Meanwhile, Young goes alone to train with Kim. She begins teaching him new moves, and he imitates her until he's too tired and sits down to rest. Kim makes him an energy drink, and they sit together, sharing their life stories. She tells him that she once liked a boy in her class, but when he discovered how strong she was, he became afraid of her and broke up with her. Since then, she decided to hide her strength. Young is moved by her story and tells her that he's determined to change the school system and ban student fighting. That way, she won't have to hide her identity, and no one will be afraid of her. Kim is impressed by his character and promises to stay by his side and help him achieve this dream. Young thanks her and begins to develop feelings for her. At the end of the day, Young leaves Kim and returns to his friends. He finds them sitting quietly, each lost in thought about what had happened. He tries to bring them back together by offering food, and they sit, eat, and become happy again. Suddenly, the bullying student calls them and tells them that a powerful gang has heard about what they did and wants to fight them. They are shocked and frightened, knowing they might be exposed. The next day, they meet with the bullying student again. He tells them that the gang has hung their pictures on the wall to identify and beat them. He insists they set a date for the fight as soon as possible, or their reputation will be ruined. Young feels confused and doesn't know what to do. He and his friends think hard about how to save themselves. They agree to make their gang bigger because they won't be able to handle the fight alone. They actually disperse, and they started going around the school, one of them from the right, one from the left, and so on, until they finally managed to gather a number of students. Their friend, the gamer, approached some students playing PUBG and challenged them, "If I win, you will join my team." Of course, they thought he was just a noob, but he turned out to be a pro. He succeeded, easily defeating them all, and the students were impressed by his skills. They kept their promise and agreed to join his gang to learn from him. At that time, John saw the gang looking for him. He got scared and hid behind a tree. When they left, he came out, but noticed someone watching him from afar. He seized the opportunity, calling out to them and pretending to be a charismatic leader to recruit them for his gang. He asked them to bring him a motorcycle and teach him how to drive. The students were scared, but they did it anyway, and John was happy. However, when he got on the motorcycle, he had an accident and fell off. The motorcycle's owner arrived, and the students ran away, scared. John tried to act brave and present himself as a leader in front of her, thinking she was a beautiful girl, but she turned out to be strong. She grabbed his clothes, hit him painfully, and warned him that if he got too close to her motorcycle again, she would break his face. John, however, was distracted by her beauty. It was clear he had fallen in love with her. After that, all that remained was Young. He entered the science room to try to recruit students to his gang, but was surprised to find that everyone there was smart and studying. One of the girls approached him and asked what he wanted. Young explained that he wanted them to join his gang so he could grow stronger. He counted them and told them he was doing this to change the school system and eliminate bullying so everyone could study freely. The girl was surprised because she had thought he was evil and a bully. She asked him to follow her and led him to a secret place in the school where they found a large group of students. These were students who disliked trouble and studied far from the gangs. Young realized he wasn't the only one who wanted to change the school system. He asked them to join his gang and promised to protect them and ensure no one bullied them. The students believed him and agreed. Young thanked them and walked away happily. However, the gang looking for him saw him and kidnapped him, taking him to an old warehouse to beat him up. Young was terrified, thinking this was the end of him. But suddenly, Kim arrived. She turned off the lights so no one could see, confronted the gang, and knocked them all to the ground. She rescued Young and helped him escape before the rest of the gang could react. Young thanked her for saving him and asked if she had been watching him. Kim got nervous and quickly changed the topic, asking him to start practicing the self-defense techniques she had taught him. Young promised he would, and the next day he organized a meeting for the students who had joined his gang. However, he was surprised when none of them came, and the gang arrived instead. They mocked him for having so few followers and decided to attack. Young was upset, but got ready. Together, he and Kim prepared to fight them. But suddenly, everyone who was supposed to arrive did. He tells Young that they will fight with him, and he feels afraid. However, the members of the second gang start running away from them. Young feels happy and reassured because he is not alone. He decides to choose a name for his gang. He asks his friends for suggestions, and they think of the Cdrama Recap hub because they know it is being widely watched. They decide to name the gang after it, the Cdrama Recap Hub Gang. The rest of the students like the name, subscribe, and keep chanting, "Cdrama Recap Hub, you're the best!" And as it is, my dear viewer, they keep subscribing and chanting. The next day, they go to school together, following Young everywhere. He feels embarrassed because he isn't used to this attention. He runs away from them and goes to a restaurant with his friends. He sits and eats with them, but notices that occasionally, one of the gang members comes over to bring him food. He becomes angry because he doesn't want to remain an unjust leader. He speaks to them loudly, saying, "I formed this gang to change the rules. Treat me as one of you. Cdrama Recap Hub are one of us." Of course, they don't believe him and take the food from him. Suddenly, a gang of thugs appears. They want to fight him, but the students who had previously taken his food defend him and drive the thugs away. Young is afraid they might beat him, but the bully reassures him that they won't be able to. They realize that the bully had been obsessed with mechanics and got into an accident while riding his scooter. Since then, he has been in the hospital. That's why his gang disbanded, and they haven't been involved in fights. The bully tells Young that the gang he should be afraid of is the Idol Gang. Young goes to see them and is surprised because they look cute. He thinks to himself, should we hit them or turn around? He remembers meeting their leader before in a restaurant, but doesn't tell anyone. At night, he sits with his friends, reassuring them that he will find a way to talk to the gang leader. He promises them that he will make a pact with the leader so they won't fight each other. He takes a chance because his friend dislikes fighting, but decides to give him an opportunity. The next day, his friend goes to the restaurant where he met the gang leader, but doesn't find him there. He gets upset and is about to leave, but suddenly the leader arrives. He sees him and asks why he is looking for him, which scares Young's friend. However, the leader recognizes him as a classmate and invites him for juice, walking with him outside the restaurant. They start talking sensibly, and suddenly, they see an old woman trying to cross the road. The leader holds her hand, helps her across, and tells Young's friend that he is a good person. When the woman returns, she sees a cat and gets scared. Young's friend laughs, realizing she has a phobia of animals, and decides to get closer to her. At that moment, his gamer friend enters into a PUBG challenge against a gang at school, but his entire team loses, leaving only him. He focuses, uses all his skills, and becomes a professional, successfully defeating the opposing gang. All alone, the son of the gamer wins the challenge. Everyone is amazed by his skills and continues to cheer him on. They chant his name, and he becomes happy and ready to walk. But then he sees a beautiful girl waiting for him, and she recognizes him. She tells him that she likes the way he plays, gives him her number, and asks him to call her. They walk together for a while, and then she leaves. The gamer becomes so happy that he can hardly believe it. Meanwhile, Young goes to the warehouse to train, but doesn't find Kim there. He is surprised and starts to leave, looking around. Then he sees her standing with a young man. He realizes he is her lover and feels jealous because he likes her. Upset, he decides to leave them. As he walks, suddenly 3 gang members appear. They take advantage of the fact that he is alone and attack him. They hit him, making Young feel embarrassed and drag him to a distant place so that Kim won't see. While being beaten, he begins to use his training and tries to defend himself, but the gang is stronger. They knock him to the ground, realizing he is weak, and decide to film him to expose him at school. Just as before, Kim arrives and saves him. She defeats all of them, smashes their faces, and takes him to a restaurant. There, her father sees him and learns that he got into a fight with the thugs. He tells Young that he worries about Kim and asks him to protect her, saying, "Please, son, she's a poor girl and doesn't deserve to be beaten." Young laughs, not knowing that Kim is the one protecting him, and promises to do what he can. Kim sits with him and treats the wounds on his face. Young is touched by her concern and thanks her. He wants to confess his feelings to her, but suddenly his phone rings. When he answers, he finds John on the line. John tells him that he is going to be late because he is cheering for his friend, the motorcycle he liked at first sight. Young watches her in the competition. John raises the screen with her name on it to cheer her up, but it catches her attention. She can't focus, gets angry, and confronts him, thinking he intended to make her lose. She tells him to stay away and walks off, regretting the misunderstanding. At the same time, their third friend is walking with the leader of the idol gang. Suddenly, the leader receives a message and sees a picture showing that he is part of a gang at school. The leader is scared of Young's friend, thinking he wants to fight. He apologizes and leaves, running off. The next day, Young and his friends go to the beach. They swim in the sea and spend a pleasant time together. They are happy and grateful that they started this journey. They are achieving their dreams, and everyone keeps talking about the girl. Young tells them he used to love a strong girl. They know he means Kim. They encourage him to confess his feelings. When he returns home, he spends the whole night thinking about her, wishing that she would love him too, and that one day he could be engaged to her. The next day, Young goes to school and finds a large number of students wanting to join his gang. He learns from the bully that they want to help him end the fights at school. Young is happy to see that there are people willing to support him. He decides to cooperate with them to defeat all the gangs. After that, his friend goes to some fashion designers and asks them to help him dress nicely. They agree and choose clothes that look good on him. When he tries them on, he transforms into a handsome young man, similar to an idol. At the same time, Jun goes to meet the girl he admires and asks for her help so he can impress her. He learns that the thing she loves most is her motorcycle and decides to prepare a surprise for her. Later, the girl arrives and is surprised to find her motorcycle missing. She thinks someone has stolen it, but then sees him with John and realizes that he has installed a fast engine on it. She is happy because now she can win in a race. John is worried about what might happen next. He thanks her, but she hits him with a pen and warns him not to come to her again without permission. Before leaving, she invites him to watch her race. Her heart begins to beat faster whenever he is near. John is surprised and promises to come and support her. He returns to his apartment, feeling happy. When his friends arrive, he teases them, saying that he is the first one in the group to get involved with a beautiful girl. However, his gamer friend shows him messages from the girl he admires, revealing that he is also in love. John realizes that his friend is also engaged and gets angry because he thought he would be the only one to get engaged. Nevertheless, he decides to help his friend. He buys him new clothes to make him look good and gives him advice. His friend thanks him for the support. At night, he goes to meet the girl and practices what he is going to say. Suddenly, she opens the door and asks him to come with her to her room. He gets nervous, thinking she wants to be alone with him. He follows her, but when he enters, he finds some guys inside. He realizes she invited him to her room to play games. Feeling embarrassed, he greets them politely. They start playing in the room, and as usual, their pro-gamer friend is able to defeat them all and wins the game. Everyone is amazed by his skills and invites him to join their team to participate in a national tournament. Of course, the gamer agrees, as this is a way to become famous, take pictures with the team, and send them to his friends, making everyone happy and motivated. The next day, Young goes to meet Kim and learns that she came to the city to look for her brother because he left the village and no one knows where he is. Kim decides to help him. She takes a picture of her brother and shows it to the customers at the restaurant in case someone recognizes him. When she finishes, she promises Young that she will stay with him until he finds his brother. Young is happy with her words and thanks her. He decides to confess his feelings to her, but is surprised when she tells him that she wants to leave his gang. She explains that she wants to live her life like any other girl her age and get engaged to the guy she likes. At that moment, Young feels frustrated because Kim is the first girl he has ever liked in his life, but he decides to respect her wishes. Meanwhile, the gamer goes to school to meet the girl he also likes, but he gets caught in a gang fight. He tries to apologize against his will, but they attack him. His gangmates rush to help him, but he insists it was just a misunderstanding. In the middle of the fight, he hugs the girl to protect her, but unfortunately, he gets hit on the head and faints. They rush him to the hospital. Young and his friends visit him and learn what happened. They feel bad for him because he is a good person who doesn't like fights, and they get angry on his behalf. They decide to take revenge. The next day, they gather all their classmates and go to fight with the idol gang. Before the fight escalates, they suddenly hear the principal's voice over the loudspeakers. He announces that the school has implemented a new system that prohibits fights and will instead hold a headshot competition. Everyone is surprised and forced to stop fighting. Young goes to talk to the principal, who explains the system of the competition. 2 gangs will participate, and the losers will be expelled from the school. John refuses and tries to fight the idol gang's leader, but the principal sees him. John quickly pretends he was only practicing headshots and declares, "I'll be the first to participate in the competition." Meanwhile, their gamer friend is having a nightmare. He imagines himself playing PUBG against the gang that beat him up. This time, he takes revenge in the game, but the clown defeats him again, and the gang beats him once more. He wakes up upset and scared, but feels reassured to see his friends beside him in the hospital. He asks what happened, and Young explains about the headshot competition. Then, he shows him a video of the team they played PUBG with, thanking him for defending them against the gang. The gamer feels happy and decides that once he gets out of the hospital, he will participate in the competition with his friends. Young leaves him to rest and goes with John and their third friend to practice headshots, but they quickly realize they don't know what to do, and that would make them lose. Luckily, the bully student offers to help them because he is talented at headshots. He teaches them the moves and asks each one to choose a girl as their partner. Young decides to choose Kim. During physics class, he goes to talk with her. He invites her to dance with him, but she refuses. Not giving up, he keeps nagging her. At one point, he even grabs an electric wire and gets electrocuted. Shocked, Kim kicks him to save him. Realizing she has no other choice, she finally agrees, and Young is overjoyed and thanks her. Meanwhile, his friend goes to spy on the idol gang. He watches them practice to learn new moves, but they catch him and drag him inside. They get angry and want to fight him, but he pretends he was just passing by chance. Boldly, he challenges them, saying that he and his friends will take first place in the competition. Then he leaves. Later, he decides to make a deal with a girl to be his partner. Nervously, he keeps searching until he finds one of the bully girls. At first, he is scared and begs her not to hit him, but eventually, he gathers courage and asks her to be his partner. Impressed by his handsomeness, she agrees. They go together to train in the garage, spending the entire day practicing. They enjoy themselves, feeling both happy and excited. Meanwhile, Young takes Kim secretly to the warehouse, where they were once beaten in fights, but he is surprised that she doesn't know how to dance. He feels frustrated and doesn't know how to teach her. He sits, thinking, but when he sees her training to fight, an idea comes to him. He starts using fighting moves to teach her how to dance with him. His plan actually works. After that, John goes to the girl he likes. He waits for her on the road while she is riding her motorcycle. He offers her a rose, asking her to be his partner in the headshot competition. Unfortunately, she refuses and breaks his heart. She tells him that she doesn't like these things and rides off on her motorcycle. She thinks the matter is over, but she is surprised to see that John has put up ads everywhere, writing that he will not give up until she agrees. Impressed by his persistence, she returns to him again. John is afraid, thinking she will hit him, but instead, she greets him and confesses that she agrees to dance with him. John is happy and follows her so they can practice. They spend the whole night practicing together. On the other side, Young succeeds in teaching Kim the dance, and the two of them become compatible. But suddenly, she receives a message from her old, or maybe current lover, and she leaves Young to go meet him. Young is upset because he has fallen for her. The next day, the competition date arrives. Young goes with his friends to compete against the idol gang. Everyone is excited and preparing to begin, but suddenly, the leader of the thug gang enters. Everyone is shocked that he has returned to school once again. John mocks him because he came alone and tries to take advantage of the opportunity to fight him, but news quickly spreads everywhere that he's back. Crowds gather around him, and their numbers grow, making the leader happy. He tells them that he will restore the fighting system and reveals his goal, to control all the schools in the city and become their leader. He asks them to join his gang to increase their strength, and many agree. After that, Young and his friends go to visit their gamer friend in the hospital. He feels reassured by their presence and asks them to spend the night with him. Suddenly, the girl he likes also visits him. Overjoyed, he looks at his friends and says, "Goodbye, guys. It's done." "Okay, it's done. Why would you want to spend the night here? I don't need you anymore." His friends smile, walk away, and let the atmosphere calm down. But on the way, they learn that their gangmates have been injured. They rush to check on them and discover that the leader of the thugs asked them to join his gang. When they refused, he attacked them. Young gets angry and decides to take revenge. He also notices that the idol gang members have been injured and asks to speak with their leader. He offers to cooperate with him to defeat the thugs, but the idol leader refuses, thinking Young will try to dominate him. Suddenly, a cat appears, and the idol leader freezes because of his phobia. Young grabs the cat and pulls it away. The leader is touched by what he did, realizes Young is kind, thanks him, and agrees to make a pact with him. Together, they decide to defeat the thugs gang and restore peace to the school. The next day, their gamer friend is released from the hospital and goes home. Everyone rejoices when they see him and make his favorite food. He thanks them, but reveals that he has a tournament to participate in. He explains that he will have to live with the girl he likes for 2 months so they can train together. His friends are surprised and upset because he will be away from them, but they encourage him to achieve his dream. The next day, they go to school, but they notice that it's empty and none of the students are there. They learn from the supermarket owner that the students are afraid of a gang of thugs because they keep hitting them. Young is surprised. Young agrees with his friends to stay together all the time, so no one gets hit. Everyone agrees, but suddenly, John receives a message from the girl he likes, asking to meet him. He is happy, of course. He forgets the agreement, leaves them, and goes to sit with her in a restaurant. She finds out what happened at school, and John thinks she's afraid of the gang of thugs. He promises to protect her and her motorcycle, but she tells him she's worried about him. She asks him if he needs anything, and that he and his friends can call her anytime, and she will defend him. John is happy with her behavior. He realizes that she's kind and is even more impressed by her personality. He decides to get engaged to her after that. His gamer friend goes to school. His team welcomes him and asks him to play with them, but he apologizes and tells them that he joined another team to participate in the national tournament. He thinks they will be upset with him, but they know that they are proud of him and will always support him. The gamer thanks them, bids them farewell, and leaves with the girl he likes. After that, Young is sitting in the library when the bullies who joined his gang enter and tell him that the bullies beat up all their classmates to force them to join the gang. Young is surprised and realizes that he must defend them because he is their leader. He reassures them that he will take action and decides to go. He talks to the leader of the bullies to try to convince him to stop what he is doing at school. He continues to hide until he reaches the gang's hideout, but he is surprised that they have arrested him. Kim knows that she is in danger because of their large numbers, and he decides to save her. He asks his friend to call their friend to hold the iron bar. He gets encouraged and runs to the gang to hit him, but he stumbles and falls to the ground. Everyone knows that he is weak, and they laugh at him, but he doesn't care. He stands in front of Kim to protect her. She agrees with him. They cooperate to defeat the leader. Sometimes she realizes that he is weak and will abandon him. Young is convinced by her words and decide to do so, but suddenly, a huge wrestler enters to fight the leader. The gang members try to beat him, but he has unnatural strength and defeats them all. Young and Kim are surprised by his strength. They think he can defeat the leader, and they decide to let him fight him. The wrestler succeeds. He defeats all the gang members and strips the leader of his clothes. He decides to kill him himself and attacks. Although he's thick, he's fast and can dodge all the blows. The wrestler, with his skill, uses his secret moves to fly into the air, hit him in the head, and break his face. In a split second, he defeats him, making him lose consciousness. He succeeds in winning the fight and prepares to fight our heroes, but he's surprised when they run away. They run because they know he's stronger than them. They decide to prepare first and go to the warehouse where they're being beaten. They gather all their friends and gang members, and together, they think of a plan to defeat the gang of thugs without anyone getting hurt. John suggests they set up an ambush and have them fight with the idol gang. This way, they'll beat each other up, leaving only a small number of them. Then, they'll take advantage of the opportunity and defeat them. Everyone is convinced by the idea. They agree, but Young's friend refuses because if he does, the idol will be his friend and doesn't want to betray him. He talks to Young alone and asks him not to do this because they have a peace treaty with them and know that if he carries out the plan and abandons them, he will be a traitor. At that point, no one will trust him again. Young is affected by his words and is convinced. He feels guilty, but tells him that there is no other solution. His friend gets upset by his words and leaves him. Young is confused and doesn't know what to do. Kim sees him and finds it difficult. She tries to comfort him by reassuring him that everything will be fine, but he tells her that he isn't up to the responsibility and regrets becoming the gang leader because he can't protect them. Kim hugs him and tells him that he is kind, brave, and gentle. She tells him to talk to his friend, and he will definitely forgive him. Young is delighted by her words and thanks her. He decides to do it and, in disguise, goes to meet his friend at the restaurant. He apologizes for yelling at him and promises him that he will think of a new plan and will not put the idol in danger. They believe his friend, reconcile, and get back together again as before. After that, their friend, the gamer, goes to train with his new team. He is happy and excited and keeps playing with them, but he notices that they treat him like a normal human being, to the point that when he loses, they yell at him, and he gets upset. He goes to rest and sits with the girl he likes. She prepares sweets for him and asks him to leave the gang and school to participate in the tournament. The gamer is confused because he doesn't want to abandon his friends. He asks her to give him a chance to think and leaves her. He goes to them and takes them a pizza. He tells them that he has a lot of money from the games, but he doesn't want to tell them that he's dropping out of school to participate in the tournament. They eat together and talk about their ambitions. John shows them a ring and tells them that he's finally getting engaged to the girl he likes. Young is the only one who doesn't have a girlfriend because he likes Kim, and Kim is already in a relationship. He decides to go talk to her and tries to confess his feelings to her, but she asks him to take a picture of her so she can send it to the guy she's in a relationship with. He gets upset and is forced to do so. He notices that she's happy and decides to sacrifice his love for her happiness. He goes with her to deliver a food order for the house. There, he sees her boyfriend walking with another girl. He is surprised. He realizes that he's cheating on her and is afraid of breaking her heart. He stands in front of her so she won't see him. At night, he returns home and finds his friends waiting for him. They ask him what he intends to do with the thugs. Young tells them that he decided to collaborate with the idol to defeat them. He expels them from school, making his friend happy with his words. He thanks him. The next day, they go to school. In order to implement the plan, they meet a leader. The idol is waiting for them, and they know that someone has been beaten. His gang keeps thinking that they are the ones who did this, and he becomes angry and decides to cancel his treaty. The peace between them surprises Young as he tries to understand that the thugs must have done something to set them up, but the idol does not believe him, and he receives a recording, making him appear to be a traitor. With the plan he was planning to make, he intends to take them to a bridge to sacrifice them and accuse them of treason. He warns them that if they get close to his gang again, he will make them regret it. He leaves them and walks away. Young is confused. He doesn't know what to do and goes back to his friends so they can think of a solution. He tells them that they must depend on themselves and fight the gang of thugs and expel them from the school. But John refuses because he doesn't want to put his life in danger. He suggests that they leave the school, and Young gets angry. They accuse John of fighting with him, and he keeps fighting. The two of them beat each other up, and his friend, the gamer, stops them. He tells them that he was ready to sacrifice his dream. He was ready to stay with them, but because they fought, he decided to participate in the gaming tournament. He decided to leave them and walked away crying. Young stays alone. After his friends abandoned him, he leaves at night. He trains with Kim and sits with her. He tells her what happened, but she actually sees him. She sends a message to the guy she's engaged to. He feels bad for her because she's been deceived by him. He decides to tell her the truth and tells her that, unfortunately, her lover is cheating on her with another girl. But unfortunately, she doesn't believe him. She thinks he wants to cause trouble between them and hits him. She tells him not to interfere in her life. She decides to end her relationship with him and leaves him. Young gets upset at her words and stays alone, crying. The next day at school, he learns from his classmate that his gang wants to fight with him. He decides to go to them alone, and he does. He tries to talk to them, wanting to restore his peace treaty, but the leader refuses and decides to defeat him. He orders his men to attack him and take the gang's emblem from him. They beat him up. After that, they go to the gang of thugs. They attack them and fight with them, At that moment, John decides to confess his love to the girl he likes and goes to her workshop. He offers her an engagement ring and proposes to her, but she shocks him and tells him that she doesn't agree, breaking his heart. She lets him know that she doesn't love him and asks him to stay away from her because she doesn't want to see him again. Yes, dear viewer, for no reason. She leaves him and walks with the leader of the thugs. John is surprised by her words and thinks that she was deceiving him. He doesn't know that she did this because she was afraid for him. He collapses and sits on the ground crying. Days pass, and Young feels lonely because he and his close friends have drifted apart. He tries to talk to them to make up, but they remain upset with him. No one responds to him. At school, the bully goes to the restaurant and feels that he misses them because they were asking for him. Suddenly, the idol gang and the thugs enter. Both of them offer him to join their gang, but he is confused and doesn't know whom to choose. Because of this, the two gangs fight with each other and continue to battle for a long time. The bully hides under the table and says to them, "Why do you see me as a ninja? So you can beat each other up because of me." After that, Young enters the classroom and sees Kim, but she ignores him and refuses to talk to him. He learns from the teacher that there is an invention competition, and the first place winner will receive $100,000. He immediately raises his hand and decides to participate in it to get the money and change his life and his friends' lives. After that, his friend goes to the idol gang and decides to join them. The leader welcomes him and agrees, but asks him to include John and the rest of his friends so that they stay safe. However, the leader refuses and apologizes to him. They know that he will accept only the students who can fight and leaves him to train. At that time, John returns home and remembers his memories with his friends. He feels that he misses them and sits eating alone, sad, wishing that time would go back so they could stay in the village. The next day, Kim goes to meet her lover and notices that he is holding his mobile phone. She begins to suspect him. When they leave the restaurant, he goes to drop her off. At that moment, the girl he is cheating on her with appears. The girl gets angry that he is walking with Kim and attacks her. She tries to hit her with a stick, but Young arrives in time and protects her with his body. Kim is surprised by what happened. She gets angry and keeps hitting her lover with a pen, breaking his face and deciding to break up with him. She takes Young and goes to invite him to her restaurant. She apologizes for not believing him. Young is happy with her words and tells her that he is not upset because he considers her the most important person in his life. They reconcile and become close friends again. He takes her with him to show her his invention and explains that he decided to make an arm to protect weak students and defend them from bullies. She secretly likes the idea and encourages him to continue. They take her to a sweet shop to improve his mood. There, Young sees his brother, whom he has been looking for, and finally tries to talk to him, but his brother runs away. Young keeps running after him until he catches him and asks him why he did this. His brother confesses the truth. He tells him, "I was lying to you to make you proud of me, but I couldn't get into college. Because of this, I had to work part-time all my life. I kept working to make ends meet." He knows that he doesn't want to return to the village so that he doesn't become a burden to them, so no one says that he is a failure. Young is affected by his words. He tries to comfort him, reassuring him that he's by his side and will support him. Eventually, his brother succeeds. Young thanks him and hugs him. He cries and apologizes to him, deciding to follow his advice. He returns to the village. A week later, the invention competition begins, and each student presents their project. It's Young's turn. He goes before the judging panel, excited, and shows them his invention. He begins by explaining his idea. It's a device shaped like a palm to help weak students. Everyone loves the idea, and he receives the highest rating. Kim stands by him to encourage him. She gestures happily and tells him she is proud of him. When he leaves, she takes him to the warehouse and asks if he wants to say anything to his friends. Young remembers his memories with them in the village and realizes that they were more than friends. They were like siblings who were always with him in times of need and never abandoned him. He blames himself for having argued with them and hopes they will forgive him. Suddenly, his friends enter, and Kim agrees with them to hide so they can hear him. They realize they are not upset with him and agree to become close friends again. Young is happy at their words. He hugs them and calls them. They all forget their quarrel, go to a restaurant together like before, and spend some time having fun. Suddenly, their friend, the gamer, receives a call from the girl he likes, but he doesn't answer. When asked why, he tells them that he doesn't want to continue with her team because they are pressuring him. He tells the girl the truth, and she doesn't get mad. His friend is convinced by his words. The next day, he goes to see her and explains that he loves playing games for fun and doesn't want to do it only for money. He apologizes and says he wants to stay with his friends. She respects his wishes and promises that if he needs her, he can call anytime. The gamer is happy and thanks her. He goes to school and meets his old team. He tells them he will go back to playing with them like before. They rejoice and welcome him. After that, John goes to the restaurant. By chance, he meets the owner of the motorcycle. The girl had paid him for something earlier. John eats and apologizes to the owner for his harsh words from before. Later, he understands that she acted out of fear for him, and John forgives her. He tells her he is not upset and sees them as the leader of the thugs. At that time, John feels jealous and goes to her workshop. He keeps yelling at her and threatening her. If she listens to anyone who makes her regret it, he will warn her. Standing with John or any of his other friends, he threatens to break her motorcycle. Then he goes to school and decides to implement his plan. First, he destroys Young's invention. When the damage is discovered, Young is devastated. Everything he worked for seems to have been in vain. John becomes angry. He wanted to fight the thugs, but his friends prevent him from doing so. Young keeps crying and feeling sorry for Kim. She holds his hand to comfort and console him, but the thugs don't stop. That night, they ambush the idol leader to beat him up, but they are weak. They think he's just a young man, not knowing he is a monster. He begins fighting them and defeats a large number, breaking many bones and faces. Unfortunately, the thugs hit him in the back, causing him to fall and break his tools. The leader laughs because he believes no one will stand in his way. The next day, he goes to school and decides to take over, but Young and his friends gather to stop him. They are scared because their numbers are small, but suddenly, all the students the thugs had beaten decide to join Young and help him, freeing the school's caretaker. Young is happy, encouraged, and recognizes their support. Kim has a plan to defeat the bullies and goes out with Young to tell him about it. He likes it and decides to carry it out. He takes her home. Kim is delighted by his attention and begins to fall in love with him. Before he leaves, she kisses him on the cheek, thanking him for always being in her life. He helps her, and she leaves him and goes into the house. He is happy. Our hero finally feels a strong responsibility to protect her from the bullies so that she can trust him. The next day, the leader of the bullies gathers all the students and goes on stage to talk to them. He tells them that he has become the strongest gang in the school, that they must pay him money, and that he will beat them up. They are afraid of him and feel forced to carry out his orders. Suddenly, Young and his friends arrive. They realize that they will not allow him to do any of the stupid things he planned. They begin to implement the plan they agreed upon. Young and his friends disperse and hide in different places to reduce the number of the gang. The plan succeeds. The thugs go looking for them, but John laughs because he has already prepared traps. He puts sticky material on the ground so the thugs cannot move, then takes advantage of the opportunity and defeats them one by one. The gamer sets up an ambush and succeeds in defeating a large number of them. All that's left is the leader of the thugs, who prepares to fight Young alone. Young worries about Kim and asks her to let him fight, promising to raise and teach her anyway. He musters his courage and attacks the leader, using the moves he learned from her, but the leader is too strong. He dodges Young, kicks him in the stomach, and knocks him to the ground. He approaches to finish him off, but Kim intervenes and stops him. Kim hits him and makes him back off. He moves away and decides to fight again. She herself starts attacking him, hitting him with all her strength, but the leader is surprisingly unaffected. He almost breaks her arm, but Young goes to help her, carrying her as if they are dancing. Together, they make coordinated attacks. She hits him with her legs, and they stand behind each other, cooperating to defeat him. They dodge all his hits and take advantage of the opportunities. They attack him repeatedly. Young gets scared, but the leader becomes dizzy and feels that this is the end for him. Young decides to take revenge. He keeps hitting him with all his strength until the leader falls to the ground and faints. Young is happy that they finally defeated him and won the fight. He reunites with his friends and all the school students and tells them that they also defeated the gang of thugs. The mission is accomplished, and the school is finally safe. The school rules are over. I'll change them and prevent fighting and bullying. We'll be able to study and learn in peace. The students are happy and cheer for Young. They chant his name. Young is relieved that he has succeeded in changing the system. When he goes outside, he finds the idol leader waiting for him. Injured, he apologizes for everything he did. He thanks Young for taking revenge on the bullies and promises to return the favor if he ever needs it. Young is happy with his words. He decides to focus on his studies to achieve his dream. A month passes, and we learn that he was able to fix his invention. He also sells it and participates in the competition. He wins first place and becomes a millionaire. He uses the prize money to develop the school. He builds a large playground for the students and creates a club for them to practice fighting. He succeeds in changing the school and making it a better place. Later, in the middle of the students, he is happy as they keep greeting him. To them, he is their leader. Then, Young goes to meet Kim to finally confess his love to her. She encourages him, holds his hand, and offers to be his girlfriend. She feels embarrassed, but agrees. They walk together happily. Days pass, and after finishing their exams, they decide to return to the village to prove to everyone that they are not failures. They take Kim with them to introduce her to their families. When they arrive, they find the whole village waiting for them and welcoming them warmly. They are considered the pride of the village. Our heroes are happy that they succeeded and achieved their dreams. They sit by the river and agree to enter university together. They all remain united. And thus, the series ends. I hope that if you have reached the end, you will subscribe to the channel and support us with a like. You can also check out other series that you might enjoy. We have many beautiful ones, and I can recommend the best for you, dear viewer. Thank you and peace.